One is urgency, pace, speed, one aspect. The other aspect is scale, numbers. And the third aspect is cost. How much does it cost? In its current setup, our multilateral development banks take ages to get anything done. There is all manner of bureaucracy. Number two, scale is limited. You always get this story, or we have little room for concessional funding. You cannot run development anywhere in the globe, including the global south, including our continent, including Kenya, without concessional funding. And then number three is that we pay, especially those of us from the global south, especially for those of us in the African continent, we pay up to 8 times more for the same resources because of something called risk. And the Secretary General of the UN was speaking to it yesterday, that why would one set of countries pay more than others? That system that others pay 8 times more than others is broken. It is rigged. It is unfair.
These are the kind of things I have always said are not only dangerous, but can lead to someone being taken out. Because remember, whenever a leader, especially from Africa, started asking the difficult questions, started challenging the status quo, started saying that Africa is treated unfairly, that leader will sooner rather than later get taken off. And William Ruto has been very outspoken. I think I have said this on this channel like many times, that he has always said his mind. So let's watch this video.
The objective is to fight both climate change and poverty. Can this be done with the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank as we know them, or should we get rid of those?
As we know them, we will have difficulty. I think you forgot one aspect. It's just a new global financing pact to deal with poverty, climate change, and also to contextualize the issue of a new architecture for the international financial system, especially the MDBs. In their current status, it's not possible. We have 3 important issues that inform how we move forward on both issues of financing and also climate change. One is urgency, pace, speed, one aspect. The other aspect is scale, numbers. And the third aspect is cost. How much does it cost? In its current setup, our multilateral development banks take ages to get anything done. There is all manner of bureaucracy. Number two, scale is limited. You always get this story, or we have little room for concessional funding. You cannot run development anywhere in the globe, including the global south, including our continent, including Kenya, without concessional funding. And then number three is that we pay, especially those of us from the global south, especially for those of us in the African continent, we pay up to 8 times more for the same resources because of something called risk. And the Secretary General of the UN was speaking to it yesterday, that why would one set of countries pay more than others? That system that others pay 8 times more than others is broken. It is rigged. It is unfair. And so it is very important for us to do 2 things: to fix the multilateral financial architecture And number two, to be clear about climate financing so that we can deal with the challenge of poverty and we can deal with the existential threat that climate change poses.
I have always said that knowledge is power and information is the key, right? Whenever you come across new information that you didn't have before, your head begins to spin. You begin to ask yourself many questions. You might even begin to think that the way you must have reacted or the views you must have had about people or things might not have been correct. They might have been corrupted by lack of enough information. I have always wondered why Africa is a very slow continent in terms of development. I have always thought that the leaders were the one doing all the things that wasn't helping Africa. Well, they still share part, but the point is the entire blame does not go to them. Because from what President William Ruto is saying, the IMF and the World Bank have also contributed to how Africa is today. Just imagine that we pay 8 times more than other countries pay. Let's take, for example, Africa or a country in Africa, let's say Kenya, takes a loan of 1 million USD. And a country in Europe, let's say France, also takes a loan of 1 million USD. But for some reason, Kenya would pay 8 times the interest than France. Can you see how unbalanced the whole transaction is? So how can you even get ahead if you are supposed to pay 8 times the interest of what you borrowed? 8 times. France or the European countries are way more developed, which means that they do not need the money as much as developing countries in Africa do. But yes, just to get those loans approved is a whole new story. And on top of that, you have to pay 8 times what the West is paying. Can you see the hypocrisy in it? And then they will come and tell us how they are supporting us. They will come and tell us how they have been friendly and kind and fair to us. They will come to Africa and they will preach democracy, human rights, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, fair treatment. I am not saying that all these principles are wrong. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the hypocrisy in it. They use their institutions to crush us, and they come and preach to the masses. And they know for sure, right, that most people do not understand how these transactions are being made. Most of us, we do not know. If not of William Ruto saying this year, most of us will not know. So we will blame our leaders for the way things are in our respective countries. You can see what is going on. You can see, right? You really can see. It's really, really terrible. And talking about risks, right? Talking about risks. How does us paying 8 times minimize the risks? How does high interest rate on us ensures that we do not default on our debt obligations? How does it ensure that? Because if someone has no money, that person has no money. No matter the interest rate, that person will still not have any money. So how does this 8 times payment that we do minimize the risks? You see, they always have a funny way of taking things away from us. They always do. The IMF, the World Bank are not institutions that were created to help Africa or Africans. Instead, those institutions were created to extract from Africa. And by the way, ask yourself, right? Ask yourself, when has the bank ever been a friend of the people? When has the bank, or when have the banks ever been friendly to the people? It has never happened, because the banks are not there to be your friend. The banks are out there to make as much money as they can from you. That's their job. That's what they stand for. That's what they were meant to do. So they are not your friends. They are not. But you guys out there, let us know your take on what President William Ruto has just mentioned. Do you think it's fair that we pay 8 times more than the West pay? Do you think that we should still go into the IMF and the World Bank for loans? Don't you think that it's high time that we create something in Africa for Africa's need? Can a continent of about 1.4 billion and about 54 countries do something that will benefit Africa and Africans? Let us know in the comment section below, because like always, we love hearing what you have to say. And also, please don't forget to like this video, share this video, follow our Facebook page, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel, because little bit of goodwill, like the way you're doing just now, help us a lot, and shall forever be grateful to you. So thank you very much for doing just that. And like always, see you in the next one.